Hey people. Um so this week we're talking about gender markers, as in the letter or word or whatever that is on driver's licenses, birth certificates, and other forms of identification that are usually issued by the government to be very official and I guess just have a record of their citizens. I only really know how it works in the US. I don't know if what I have to say necessarily applies to other countries or which ones they apply to, but basically, countries generally have the options male and female. And there are a couple countries that have a third option, which is usually X. And sometimes, a lot of times, you would think that this option would be for non-binary people. But sometimes it's for intersex people, which is not the same as non-binary, although obviously there is an intersection. Sometimes it's, sometimes it's, yeah. But anyway, if in the US there was a third option, there isn't. But if there was, I would be kind of worried about how that would turn out. Like if in the future they make a third option, I would be a little bit worried because obviously, if we lived in a close to ideal world, there would there would be no gender markers on official documents at all, because really the only thing that anybody other than the only thing that any stranger needs to know other than my doctor is my pronouns. What was I saying? Anyway, that was all a tangent about an ideal society in regards to gender markers. But, we don't live in an ideal society, so I feel like getting a third gender marker option is closer, a lot closer. Like, that might happen in my lifetime, whereas getting rid of gender markers entirely in most countries is probably not gonna happen in my lifetime. But anyway, my point is, what was my point? In any struggle of a marginalized group towards acceptance, it doesn't, there's no switch that is flipped. It's not like, if there are more options for gender markers, if, laws are passed that allow a third option or more for gender markers, the only thing that is going to change is that there is a third option for gender markers. It's, it's not going to make people more accepting of non-binary people. It may come about in the first place because people are more accepting, but it itself is not going to change people's minds. It might make people's lives easier, which is the whole point of it in the first place. I know that there are people who they worry about or they feel dysphoric over gender markers, and it can cause problems. It can cause problems if your gender marker doesn't match what officials think of your appearance. That can cause serious problems. But if there was a third gender marker and people, used it, then there would be different problems because, I'm just trying to imagine, like, how many people would actually feel safe? How many non-binary people would feel safe basically having it marked on their official record that anyone would be looking at if they look them up, or if they, if a bartender or a police officer asks for your ID and they look at that and they see you basically declaring yourself as a non-binary, how are they going to react? And if it was like, I guess it's different, it's kind of different from just saying that you're non-binary, or maybe looking androgynous, or looking, I don't know. Because if, such a law were to be passed, then everyone would know about it. Like, there would be no misinterpreting it. And I just think that, even if people only, did it willingly, it could put them in a lot more danger. Because once it's there, it's your public, like, government record or whatever, you can't erase it. And you can't really hide it. I mean, if, even if I'm out to everyone I know, there's just going to be a lot of people in positions of power who can know that I'm trans without even coming close to me, know that I'm non-binary. And that's just, if it's willing, but I can easily see something happening where either just non-binary people are forced to change their gender marker to that, or all trans people. And then it would just sort of be like a mark, like a target. And that could be really bad. And it could be like, even if it was, you might think that, oh, there's no way that they would force people to have a certain gender marker if they were trans. But the thing is that people already, there are laws that say, either to get your gender marker changed, you have to have surgery or something, stuff like that. there are already rules like that, and it would just be so, it would be so easy. It would be so easy to use laws to even indirectly force trans people or non-binary people to have the third gender marker. And, you know, I guess I'm worried about that. And the solution would probably be to not have gender markers on public documents. I don't know if I could like wave a magic wand, if I would keep gender markers on birth certificates, or some sort of replacement for a gender marker. Although I don't know what it would be that would possibly be different. But yeah, if, you know, if it becomes a possibility in the US, but, you know, society isn't, you know, almost completely accepting of non-binary people, then I probably would not change it. Because, I mean, I'm trying to think of situations where people see any of my documents that have gender markers on him, and I can just think of maybe school official documents and, you know, my ID. And I do not want, you know, random school administrators or police officers to be knowing, you know, my sensitive personal information. Like, yeah. I mean, so yeah, it would be cool if we could, you know, get rid of gender markers on official documents completely. I don't know when that's gonna happen, and it's not really something that I spend a lot of time hoping for, I guess. Yeah. But I see how it you know, it could really affect people's dysphoria or sense of ease. I don't know. Yeah. I'm really tired. I'll see. I'll talk to everybody later. We're gonna have an an updated, more detailed call for applications. We've received a couple, but we want to receive more. But yeah, when we have that posted on our Tumblr, we'll mention it in our videos. So stay tuned. Bye.